אשרינו, אשרינו, מה טוב חוקנו, אשרינו, אשרינו, מה טוב חוקנו.
אשרינו, 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 מה טוב חוקנו, אשרינו, אשרינו, מה טוב חוקנו.
הומנויים, הומנויים, גוירולנו, הומנויים, נויים, גוירולנו. הומנויים, הומנויים, גוירולנו, הומנויים, נויים, גוירולנו. הומה יופו, 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 ירושלנו, הומה יופו, יופו, ירושלנו. Humanayim, humanayim, gayroleyno. Humanayim, nayim, gayroleyno. Humanayim, humanayim, gayroleyno. Humanayim, yafa, yafa, Yerushalayno, oh my yofo, yofo Yerushalayno, oh my yofo, yofo, yofo Yerushalayno, oh my yofo, yofo Yerushalayno. Oh manoyim, gayroleyno, oh manoyim, gayroleyno.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third annual Mega Unity event, One People, One Heart, celebrating the life and teachings of the Lubavitcher Rebbe of blessed memory. 70 years ago, out of the ashes of the greatest human catastrophe, the Holocaust, a holy man, now known simply as the Rebbe, ascended to the stage of Jewish leadership. In the decades that followed, the Rebbe revolutionized our people and inspired millions the world over. A rare and radiant Torah luminary, his legacy of love and his ocean of insightful teachings continue to resonate with relevancy 26 years after his physical passing. This year, we celebrate 70 years of the Rebbe's leadership. And this evening, in honor of the Rebbe's 26th yahrzeit, we come together and highlight one unique and inimitable facet of the Rebbe, a quality that will please God inspire each of us to take one step forward in our divine journey on earth. On behalf of the 23 Chabad centers of Washington State and the Chabad centers of the states of Oregon, Alaska, Arizona, and the Canadian province of British Columbia, we welcome you to Positivity Bias. I would like to introduce my father, Rabbi Shalom Bar Levitin, the director of Chabad of the Pacific Northwest, to say words of welcome and blessing.
Dear friends, I would like to welcome everyone to this very inspiring unity event commemorating the 26th yahrzeit of our beloved Holy Rebbe of blessed memory. My dear Rebbe and my wife Chani and I were sent by the Rebbe back in Cheshvan 5733, October 1972, to represent Chabad in the Pacific Northwest. It has been incredible to see the tremendous growth with tens of Chabad houses, Chabad centers, and the selfless dedication and self-sacrifice of the Shluchim and Shluchos, the emissaries of Chabad, who have so greatly impacted their respective communities. The hallmark of Chabad is to reach out and embrace every Jew, validating their connection to Judaism and to the community at large, all of us being created in the image of God. I'd like to end with a blessing for all those who are in need, whether physically, spiritually, financially. May the good Lord watch over them and bless them. Thank you for participating in tonight's event.
We are very lucky to have a special treat tonight. We are blessed to have the President of Israel, President Reuven Rivlin, share with us his words of warmth and inspiration in honor of tonight's Unity event. Mr. President, we thank you for your words and we wish you utmost success and strength in all your endeavors. We are extremely excited and honored to introduce the President of Israel, President Reuven Rivlin.
לפני קרוב ל-40 שנה הייתה לי את הזכות להיכנס ליחידות אצל הרבי. הרבי קרא לי, וכשהרבי קורא באים, שכן המחצית הריבלינית שלי היא באה מהחסידים, בעוד שהמחצית האחרת מהמתנגדים, תלמידי הגאון ובני משפחתו. הסיבה שהרבי קרא לי הייתה כתמיד דאגתו לעם היהודי וליהדותו. זאת הייתה יחידות קצרה מאוד. חשתי בה את אותה תחושה מופלאה של חסיד לפני רבו. ייתכן שהיה זה בזכות סב סבי מצד אמי, הרב וחסיד אליהו יוסף ריבלין, שעלה ארצה לפני 170 שנה, והיה ממחדשי היישוב החבדי בחברון. אולי בזכות הייחוס היקר של משפחתי מצד אמי לאדמו"ר הזקן, ואולי בזכות המפגש וקשר המכתבים שהיה לרבי עם אבי מורי, הפרופסור יוסף יואל ריבלין, מתנגד אבל מעריך גדול ומעריץ גדול של הרבי. אינני יודע בדיוק מדוע, אך מהמפגש הזה אני זוכר בעיקר את החום המתוק שהרגשתי בעומדי לפני הרבי. את התחושה שאומנם אני נמצא בארץ רחוקה, אבל כן, אני כאילו בבית. אנחנו מציינים היום יחד כ"ו שנים להסתלקותו של הרבי. נדמה לי שאין דרך אחרת לגלות תוקף ונצחיות של מנהיג ומורה מאשר לבחון אותה בדורות שבאים לאחריו. יש היום דור שלם של יהודים שהם יהודים של הרבי, יהודים בזכות הרבי. שאו עיניכם וראו כמה העמיקה, צמחה וגדלה חסידות חב"ד. חסידי חב"ד ושלוחיה בארץ ובעולם מלאו את הארץ בפעלתנות ובמסירות, ובעיקר מתוך אהבה שאין לה די. גם בימי המגפה הקשה שפוקדת את העולם ופגעה קשות בחסידות, התעקשתם להמשיך ולהביא אור ושמחה. אין כמעט נקודה על מפת העולם שלא יימצא בה בית חב"ד, פתוח מכל עבריו, כאוהל אברהם אבינו, נכון לקבל במאור פנים ובחיבוק חם כל יהודי שמבקש לו מנוח מנדודיו, רגע של בית, חום ורוח, ובכולה מפעם את רוחו של הרבי, שכולה נתונה ללא לאות לשלומו ולגאולתו של עמנו. שמעתי ששאלו פעם את הרבי איך הוא לא מתעייף לעמוד כך ולקבל את פני אלפי ורבבות המתדפקים על דלתו, והרבי ענה, כשסופרים יהלומים לא מתעייפים. כשאני מתעייף, אני מזכיר לעצמי את האמירה הזאת. מי ייתן ותמשיכו לפעול מתוך אבותות אהבה שאין כמוה, ושליחות שאינה נפסקת לעולם, עד לגאולה השלמה. היו ברוכים מירושלים.
We would like to thank tonight's underwriter, my dear friend, Mr. Stephen Burrell, for his generosity and vision in understanding the immense need of bringing people together in honor of the Rebbe of blessed memory. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Burrell.
Shalom. My name is Stephen Burrell, and I'm very honored to be one of the sponsors of tonight's program, One People, One Heart, which is taking place actually in Seattle, Washington. But as you can see, I'm now in Jerusalem. And through the magic of the Zoom, we can connect Jerusalem, America, the whole Jewish people, the whole world. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge our Rabbanim, some of our Rabbanim who are here with us tonight. I'll begin with Rabbi Shalom Ber Levitan, who is my teacher, my rabbi. Rabbi Moshe Kletenik, also my teacher, my rabbi. Rabbi Shimon Ben Zaken, my rabbi, my teacher. And last but not least, Rabbi Shmuley Levitan, who is an amazing young rabbi who had the vision to produce this evening and to spread the message, to spread Torah all around the world. Thank you very much. It's very fitting that I'm here tonight because the Kotel is a place of unity. It's a place where it doesn't matter which country you're from or what sort of Jew, the frumest Jew in the world, the least frum Jew, Ashkenazi, Sfaradim, Americans, Israeli, we'll come here and we're together at the Kotel. Now, the Kotel's a bit different this year, and I'll just show you some pictures of what's going on. They've divided it up into little prayer areas for separate minyanim. Because of the health situation, they had to do this. I'm now in the middle of the day, there aren't that many people here, but it'll be full within the limitations on, especially on Friday night and Shabbat. We're here today in honor of Gimel Tammuz, which is the yahrzeit of our Rebbe, of the Rebbe Milubavitch. And I've come to understand that one of his main messages to the world was that every Jew is important, every Jew has got something special about him, and the Jewish people should come together, and they shouldn't have machloket and sinat chinam and all those horrible things. The Jewish people. And he taught by example. Any Jew in the world wanted to visit him, he received thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of people. He made them feel that they were the most important Jew in the world. And that was his message. And today, on the upcoming Yahrzeit, we have to think about Jewish unity, which is a beautiful thing. Not the things which divide us, the things which bring us together, the things which unify us. We're unified by the Torah, we're unified by the land of Israel, we're unified about our communities, our history, and we should all be together. And these are definitely difficult times. And maybe one of the things, good things that come out of this difficult time is that more people thinking about the importance of Jewish unity, and our quarrels and our problems seem very small these days compared to the big picture. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful evening tonight. Rabbi Levitin has brought the chief rabbi of Russia, who is a very, very big rabbi, to speak to us. And I also want to say, this rabbi, he was affected by the machala, by the illness. We wish him refuah shlema, refuah nefesh, refuah guf, that Rabbi Beryl should have complete healing and should be well. And we're looking forward to hear what he has to say to us tonight. There'll be other Rabbanim, other very, very interesting things to think about. We really appreciate that people are logging in on the Zoom from all over the world. It's a big deal, it's a big occasion. I look forward, I'm sad we're not together. I look forward to next year together. That's what I hope. So thank you very much. Kol Tov. Bye from Jerusalem.
Over the next hour, you'll have a front row seat view into how the Rebbe unlocked potential and hope within chaos and confusion. How he approached every situation, including challenging circumstances, with strong and consistent positive attitude and perspective. How he dug beneath the surface. How he unearthed diamonds and energy where others saw a desolate wasteland. How he magnified the tiniest points of light embedded within the human soul. We hope that this evening's program fills you with strength and joy during these challenging times. Sit back and enjoy.
Na Fayidne sich jedu auf dem Wort von dem Baal Shem Tov. Ki siya atem Eretz Chefetz, jeder Ried befragt, wird geglichen zu Eretz Chefetz zu Ort.
So I bought a Greyhound bus ticket for $100 and I went off to look for America. I went around the States meeting many, many rabbis of all kinds. And eventually I got to see the Rebbe in a meeting that changed my life. I asked the Rebbe my questions, the questions of a young sophomore student. He got through them quite rapidly, and that was the extraordinary moment when he suddenly did a role reversal. My questions ended, and his questions began. How many Jewish students were there at Cambridge? How many came along to the Jewish Society? We estimated in those days that we were losing 90% of our Jewish students who were just drifting away. And the Rebbe started saying, and what are you doing about it? And I really didn't expect this because I never saw myself as a leader or somebody involved in as it were, reaching out. And I suddenly realized the Rebbe was challenging me to go and lead.
Sie wird angerufen Eretz Chefetz, der Fall, was innerwenig Kriegen, Avon im Tevis und Margolies, sie liegt ab Mayim Chayim, sie liegen Kamo Eitzes, was seine Gonus bemavi ho Adomo.
The Rebbe taught me something very important, that the most transformative moments in your life happen when somebody else believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Der Unterschied in Orsi, da bei ihnen, was gefühlen sich Korriv, zu dem Eberflach, bemele darf noch ein bisschen agrobter. Gefinden gleich dem Even Tevo, gefinden gleich dem Mayim Chayim. Sie da a Sehne, was mir darf groben tiefer und noch tiefer, kdei arobzunehmen mit alle Unionen, Hamalim und Mastirim.
I was at Torres Chaim, which was on Belmont Avenue in Brooklyn. Shortly before my 10th birthday, my mother and my baby sister and myself went to see the Rebbe. We went to 770, and my mother started to talk to the Rebbe. My son, Shalom, he's been thrown out of the yeshivas, and the rabbi says this, and he's not listening, and the rabbis are complaining he doesn't like the school, he doesn't like the homework, he doesn't like the program, he likes eating stuff in class, and then my mother's crying and crying because she was searching for answers. The Rebbe turns to me, and he smiles, and he goes, "Come here." So I started the conversation. Because I was ready. I said to the Rebbe, "You're the Rebbe?" So the Rebbe looks at me with a big smile. He says to me 3 questions. The first question was, "Are you a good boy?" I said, "No," with conviction. I was ready. I was used to the scene. So then he says, "You like school?" I said, "No." Then he says to me, "Do you listen to your mother?" I go, "No." So with a big smile, he turns to my mother and he goes, Emes, it's good.
Hat aufgegraben die Mayim Chayim, was sie behalten bei jeder Rieden, a viele bei dem Mieden, was ruft sich an der Weiler. Beshem Ache is a sichere Sache, a sechet von Eretz Chefetz, a sichere Sache, a verbunden mit Mekel Mayim Chayim, a Bayelikim Chayim.
Emes, it's good. And that was, wow. I jumped right back into the whole scene.
Man darf sich mehr nicht haben Geduld und nicht jallen in Kirche wie Gier. Auf der Grobensach und aufgraben dem Bejehr, bis wann es zu tun im Stürmen, dem Mayim Chaim Shebetech, aber das ist gewähnt der Weder von den Baal HaYilul.
My father was an Orthodox rabbi. He was a Musmach from Slobodka. And unfortunately, he died when I was 7. My mom, as a single parent, I guess was looking for some sort of help and reassurance. He was very Makarov. I'd walk with my mom sometimes on Eastern Parkway, and if the Rebbe happened to be walking, he would just kind of like touch his hat as if to acknowledge that she was there. And that meant so much. Then when I was in college, my mom had wanted me to come with her, so I'd have the experience. He asked questions about what I was doing at college. I was involved in the Jewish Culture Foundation because NYU is a big university, and I wanted to maintain whatever was important Jewishly. A short time after the meeting, I do remember the excitement of getting this letter at NYU. Blessings and greetings. The life's purpose of every Jew has been clearly defined as far back as the revelation at Mount Sinai. We were then ordained as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Every one of us, man or woman, must fulfill priestly functions to bring God to the people and to elevate the people to be nearer to God. Our father Abraham has taught us what one individual can achieve. For one was Abraham, yet he inherited all the earth. Our age, which some people prefer to call the atomic age, has further demonstrated that in the minutest quantity of matter, tremendous stores of energy may be found. All that is necessary is to discover them and then harness these stores of energy to constructive purposes. I feel sure that the thoughts expressed in the above lines will find their proper response in your heart and in the hearts of your colleagues and friends. Cordially, Menachem Schneerson. I shared it with the director and the other officers, and we really succeeded in having a lot of Yiddishkeit there.
When I moved to New York and got married, I started a beginner's minyan at our shul here in Manhattan. It was basically an introductory service for Jewish adults that may or may not have had the benefit of a Jewish education. We launched it on Rosh Hashanah because we thought that was an auspicious time to try and attract people and so forth. And I was leading it with not a great deal of preparation, but nevertheless I did my best to lead it. And it turned out to have been a success. I remember, as I always did every year, going to visit the Rebbe for Lekach between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And always long lines. Lekach time was no exception, and you could see people coming to him and expressing their own needs and their own worries and requests for advice, requests for blessings and so forth. Everybody asking and asking and asking the Rebbe for things. I thought to myself, this year I'm going to be different. I'm going to give the Rebbe some nachas. I'm going to give him some good news and make him happy and proud and smile and especially make him proud of me.
I'd like to let the Rebbe know, I hope he has some nachas from the following. This Rosh Hashanah in our shul, I started a minyan for beginners who don't know anything. We had 200 people. 200. Rosh Hashanah, and Yetz Hashem for Yom Kippur we'll have also. And the Shabbos, we started the first regular Shabbos, we had about 50 people. Last Shabbos. People without any background to start learning a little bit about Yiddishkeit. And I'd like the Rebbe's bracha that we should continue.
And I expected a big yasher koach from the Rebbe. I expected the Rebbe to give me a high five and to congratulate me and so forth. When I said the words, Jews without any Jewish background, the Rebbe's smile disappeared. And he looked at me with his piercing blue eyes, and I knew that I had said something very, very wrong. And I didn't know what.
He'll explain to all these people they have a real background of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yankee. And so the Rivka Rachel Leah. That's it for you, and that's for the people who have no background.
The Rebbe was saying, this is royalty you're talking about. These aren't Jews without any background. This is royalty. And that was the Rebbe for every Jew. For the Rebbe was royalty.
You know, we were Pashut mention, but everybody counted, and that's the important thing.
He said I was emes. At that point, it pulled me right back into Yiddishkeit.
Last night in London, Jonathan Sacks became the new chief rabbi, a figurehead for the whole of Anglo Jewry, and one of the most influential rabbis in the world.
That's what the Rebbe did. You saw your reflection in his eyes, and you were suddenly much bigger than you thought you were.
The Rebbe didn't only see extraordinary potential in the ordinary, even in those others see as disabled. The Rebbe reframed the conversation, disapproving the very label disabled. In 1976, an Israeli delegation of IDF wounded soldiers paid a historic visit to the Rebbe. The Rebbe addressed those wounded heroes, and he suggested to rename the ways they were labeled Nechei Tzahal, which means the disabled of the IDF, and instead to replace it with Mitzuyanei Tzahal, the excellent of the IDF, reflecting the special and exceptional potential those wounded heroes possessed.
במלחמת ההתשה נפצעתי, והשיקום הממשי שלנו היה דרך הספורט. השתתפנו כשחקני כדורעף בנבחרת הנכים של ארגון נכי צה"ל.
ב-1976 התקיימה האולימפיאדה בטורונטו, בקנדה, והייתי מהמייסדים והמובילים של הארגון הזה לשיקום נכי המלחמה.
Of all the sports represented at the Olympiad, basketball is the best attended, drawing standing room only crowds for every game, especially those between the two giants of the sport, the US and Israel.
וחשבתי שלא יכול להיות דבר יותר מובן מאליו מאשר לטוס לניו יורק ולבקר את הרבי. והתקשרתי למזכירו של הרבי, ומיד התקבלתי בתשובה חיובית בחמימות, וקבענו את המועד.
אני שגדלתי בקיבוץ חילוני, במסגרת חילונית, שכל הקשר שלי לדת היה רחוק מזרח ממערב, שיוסי לוקמר אמר שצריכים להיפגש עם הרבי מלובביץ', אמרתי בסדר, אוקיי, ניפגש איתו, זה לא... שמעתי עליו, וכבר כשהתקרבנו, כשירדנו מהאוטובוס, חשנו בעמולה, בהתרגשות הגדולה מסביב. הגענו לאולם גדול, בית הכנסת הגדול, ומסביב היו אלפי בני ישיבה חרדים בהתרגשות גדולה.
מוכרח לומר, אני אישית בהתרגשות רבה. וזו הייתה איזו רוח מיוחדת, רוח של קדושה. ויצא הרבי ועלה לבמה ודיבר אלינו.
אני אדם בעבור אשכנזית, שהורגלתי בתקוותי שכולם יבינו את זה.
היה איתנו מתורגמן שעמד לתרגם מיידיש, ולהפתעתנו הרבי דיבר איתנו בעברית, מה שנקרא עברית של ביאליק, במילאל. וראית שעומד מולך איש מאוד מיוחד, מאוד אחר, והמסר שלו היה, אתם חזקים, אתם גיבורים, אתם לא נכים.
אין בייתי נכה מהשם שנסים למישהו שהוא נכה, שזהו מראה על משהו נחיסוס וירידו, כי אם אדרבה צריך להדגיש בזה שהוא משהו מיוחד ומצוין על ידי ברי האדם שנוסן לכיחס מיוחדים יסרים על מה שישנו לאדם מן השורה, ולכן דווקא ביכולתי להסגבר על קושיים ומניעס שאין ביכולת להסגבר עליהם לאדם מן השורה. ולכן הייתי מציע שישנו השם ויקורו מצוינים בישראל.
ישבנו קסומים שמה, האזנו לדרשה שלו, ואני כאדם שעסקתי כל חיי בתחום הזה, אני יכול לומר שדברי הרבי היו נר לרגליי, ומצאתי אנשים שנפגעו בצורה הכי קשה, עיוורים ומשותקים וכן הלאה, ובמעט שנשאר להם, הם הגיעו להישגים הכי גדולים שאדם יכול לתאר לעצמו, שזה דבר שאדם שלא מכיר את התחום הזה וכן הלאה, לא יכול להאמין. וזה הרבי תפס מיד כשהוא ראה אותנו וכשהוא קיבל אותנו.
ובעזרת ההתייחסות של הרבי שקרא לנו מצויני צה"ל, בעקבות זה, עם השנים אני הייתי שותף להקמה של ארגון שנקרא אתגרים, ארגון שמנסה באמצעות ספורט אתגרי, לקחת ילדים עיוורים וקטועים ומשותקים ופגועי נפש מנטלית. היום אני מביא אותם למאות, לאלפי, אפילו לעשרות אלפי החולים שלי, ובצורה זו אני מצליח לרפא אותם.
בברכו בתדר רבה על הכובד הגודל שנזכבדתי על ידי הביקור שלכם, והיא רוצן שרבי פעמים תצליחו להוביל שמחה ועיר ויהדות בכל מקום שתבקרו, הם בחוץ לארץ ולאחרי זה גם כן בארץ הקודש.
וכשהוא סיים את הדרשה, הרבי ירד אלינו, דבר שאמרו לי שזה דבר שהוא לא מקובל. הוא ירד אלינו, לחץ את ידי כולם, ידי כל המשלחת, הוא לחץ את ידי. זה היה מין חיזיון שקשה לתאר אותו. חשנו שהאיש באמת אוהב אותנו, אוהב את הנתן ומעריך את הנכים שתרמו מגופם לשלמותה של מדינת ישראל.
Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel, a noted professor and Nobel laureate, writes in his memoirs that once, during a deep theological discussion with the Rebbe suddenly changed the topic and asked Professor Wiesel why he wasn't married. The Rebbe encouraged him to unlock his potential and build a family, even in the face of unspeakable loss and pain he endured. Take a look.
I had a friend called Gershon Jacobson. He was working for a Yiddish paper, I think for the Morgenjournal. I was working for the Forwards. And we would meet at meetings, press conferences and so forth. And I liked him. And he said to me, you must come to Farbrengen. Let's all Farbrengen. And I came. And I saw the Rebbe really. I saw the Rebbe at work, and that was enough. I saw him. And I realized that all the tsar in the world, all the pain in the world, all the Jewish you saw him in the world, were on his face. Then I asked for a Farbrengen, and of course I came and we spent, I thought 10 minutes, then I thought 20 minutes, then I thought maybe a half hour. We spent like 2 or 3 hours. And he said, come back. And came back as often as possible, as I could. For a while, he saw that I disagreed with him on getting married. There are many letters which you don't have, personal letters, about getting married and what it means to get married. But he did not follow my protest. He understood it, but he didn't follow it. Yet he understood that my protest was an inner protest from inside the Muneh, not outside the Muneh. It wasn't even against the Muneh. It was because of the Muneh that I had a protest. As I think I said it to him. I said, I don't have chutzpah klape Shemaya, but I have trunie klape Shemaya. And he understood it. Of course he did. When I got married in Jerusalem, the most beautiful bouquet of flowers I received in my life, probably, was a Rebbe's, with a little note there, and then I got a letter. He belongs to a deep zone in my life. It's like Yaakov Avinu, the most Yekne Shalovi came to him at a critical moment. And with me, if I have, let's say, I'm at a crossroad and I need to make a decision, right or left, what do I do? I ask either literally I see the face of my mother or my father, and I know it comes to Ruchnius. I see the Rebbe's Dual Yekne Shel Rebbe. I must say that personally I miss him profoundly and terribly.
Thank you very much. One time I have not seen you. As I read about you in life, not enough. Amen. I need noch mehr. Nicht bringen es leider. Nicht bringen es.
Even in something seemingly vain, like physical beauty, the Rebbe saw immense positive opportunity that can and should be utilized to bring holiness and goodness to humanity. This exchange is between the Rebbe and Miss Israel, the winner of Israel's 1991 beauty pageant. Take a look.
אני מלכת היופי של ישראל, אני מייצגת את מדינת ישראל, אני מבקשת שתברך אותי באושר ובברכה. אני מבקשת שתברך את כל המשפחה שלי באושר, שאני אתחתן במהירות.
זה בשורות טובות והצלחה רבה.
תודה רבה.
בשורות טובות והצלחה רבה.
תודה רבה, באושר ובבריאות. תודה. תודה.
וכוסו בתנ"ך בתורה ששקר הישי, אבל נחת כן בהמשך איש יראת השם היא תזהלו. ומפורשים, במפורשים שעוז בין איש יראת השם היא מנצלת את הישי שלו לעליונים יופים בתורה ובמצוות.
תודה רבה.
הבנת מה שהרב אומר? זה גם לחברת שלו.
תודה.
והסגניות שלכל המשתתפים.
תודה
זה
רבה.
בשביל כל המשתתפות.
תודה רבה.
This perspective of the Rebbe, to see the inner potential within, was not limited to Jews. In the Rebbe's worldview, every human being, Jew and non-Jew alike, was an agent of God, divinely placed in a particular time and place to fulfill a unique and awesome task. This is the story of Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to United States Congress. Take a look.
Dr. David Lukens is chair of the Political Science Department at Touro College. For 20 years, he served on the staff of U.S. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
My two best stories with the Rebbe in public policy, and I use them in class. I actually use them. The first one I used in class in American politics as an example. There was a woman in Brooklyn, college teacher named Shirley Chisholm. She got elected to the United States Congress in the mid-'60s. She was a fiery speaker. She was considered a black power advocate. Whites were scared silly of her. And she was the first black woman ever elected to the United States Congress, and she was a bomb thrower.
I am the only unbought and unbossed politician. And I mean that literally. And I think that you have to recognize that because I am not white, and because I'm not a male, that I am not going to get the blessings of the power structure in this country.
So the white Southern racists that ran the U.S. House of Representatives from the South said, we'll teach this blank a lesson. And they assigned her to the Agricultural Committee of the House of Representatives. It was a great gelächter, it was a great joke. I still remember the New York Times front page article said, does a tree grow in Brooklyn, ? And they said, the chairman, they've appointed Shirley Chisholm, not to housing, which she requested, not to a committee on poverty, but the Agriculture Committee. And when she retired from the House, I was there when she told the following story. She said she was very depressed, very upset, and didn't know what to do. She got a phone call. The Lubavitcher rabbi wants to see you. And of course, she was the congresswoman from Crown Heights. She had helped win the election, the primary, with the strong support of Lubavitch. She had some very close relationship with people in the Crown Heights community. And she came to see the Rebbe. And he sat down and he said, I know you're very upset. She says, I am upset. I'm insulted. What should I do? And he said, what a blessing God's given you. This country has so much surplus food, and there's so many hungry people, and you can use this gift that God's given you to feed hungry people. Find a creative way to do it. And she says the first day she came to Washington, she met a young congressman who's now a world-famous figure, Robert Dole from Kansas. And they started talking, and he said, our farmers have all this extra food, we don't know what to do with it. She said, 1 second, the rabbi. And what we call WIC and food stamps. Largely expanded. It was a tiny pilot program before. The whole existing food stamps program came out of the Agriculture Committee of the United States Congress, and Shirley Chisholm said in front of everyone there in Washington, she said, I owe this because a rabbi who was an optimist taught me optimism, taught me that what God gives, what you may think is a challenge is a gift from God. She said, if poor children, babies, I heard her say this, she said, poor babies have milk, if poor children have food, it's because this rabbi in Crown Heights had vision.
Rabbi Berel Lazar is the chief rabbi of Russia and head shliach of Chabad in Russia. He is the spiritual leader of the Marine Russia Community Center and Synagogue in Moscow. In addition, Rabbi Lazar serves as the chairman of the Rabbinical Alliance of the CIS, which unites 400 rabbis and their communities of the former Soviet Union. Rabbi Lazar serves as the representative of the Jewish people to the Russian Federation of the Council of Cooperation with Religious Associations. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome Rabbi Berel Lazar.
Gimel Tammuz, a day that today brings us a strong association with the day that the Rebbe is physically no longer with us. And year after year, we remember this day with a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow. But actually, this day has been an important day in the Jewish calendar and the Hasidic calendar much before what happened 26 years ago. It actually brings us back in 1927, when the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe was arrested here in the Soviet Union for spreading Judaism, for opening Jewish schools. mikvaot, synagogues, sending around rabbis to help local Jewish communities. And as we all know, he was arrested, and in the beginning was clear that what's going to happen is going to be the death penalty. That was the rule of law in those days against anybody that went against the government. And here was one person, Rabbi Schneerson, who decided he was going to stand up against communism and the regime at that time. 2 weeks later, on the 3rd of Tammuz, he was actually released from prison and sent to exile to the city of Kostroma. For the Hasidim, that was a moment of joy. The Rebbe was actually freed from prison. They understood that the death penalty is no longer such a danger. And of course, they would have rejoiced, and this would have been the happiest holiday. But they realized that by the Rebbe himself, this wasn't a real happy occasion. And the reason was because, as the Rebbe himself explained years later, as long as the Rebbe cannot be together with his Chassidim, even though he was freed from prison, even though his life was saved, but if he cannot be teaching the Chassidim, being there to help them, being near them, it's not a real liberation, it's not a really happy occasion. And therefore the 3rd of Tammuz was never celebrated as much as the 12th of Tammuz, the day when the Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, was actually able to come back to Moscow, to his Chassidim, and teach Chassidus, say a Maimer, daven with them, be together with them. This is actually an important lesson teaching us what a Rebbe is all about. A Rebbe is not just a tzaddik, is not just a holy person, is not just a servant of God. It's someone whose whole life is dedicated to other Jews, is dedicated to help one more person, to do whatever he can to make the life of another Jew, of another human being better, more special, more meaningful. And this has been always the mantra, the foundation of the teachings of Chassidus. You cannot be a real person, a real Jew, if you're not going to help one another. It's not only about praying and learning and your own growth. It's about what are you going to do for your fellow Jew? What are you going to do to help somebody else? Where did I see this firsthand? What impressed me to the core of my life was actually when I came to Russia around 33 years ago, and I was shocked by the local Jews here in Russia, by the local Chassidim. I came here, was still in the times of communism, and for people to learn Torah, keep the mitzvot, wasn't a problem. Even at that time, the authorities, they couldn't care if somebody in his own home would decide to keep the Shabbat, to put on tefillin. What worried them was what they called the propaganda. What people were going out and teaching young children Torah, teaching young people the beauty of Judaism, and this was done notwithstanding the danger that they were facing. To organize a wedding, a circumcision, a Jewish class, a Jewish camp, all these things in the underground, Jewish classes for the people that were just taking their first steps in Judaism, this was something completely dangerous. Printing books in those days, it was just risking your own life. They would send you to Siberia, who knows if you'll ever make it back. But people didn't think twice about their mission. What is really their goal in life is not about taking care of themselves. It's not their own self-growth. It's actually going out of their way, risking their lives, risking the lives of their families and their close and dear ones in order to help one more person come closer to Yiddishkeit. And that's how they went here, and they kept on building mikvaot and having these underground classes for young children, going on and on. Why? Because this is the whole idea of Hasidim. This is the whole idea of a Rebbe. showing that your whole life is dedicated to somebody else? Where do you get the most special feelings of fulfillment, of being yourself and understanding that my goal in life is being actually fulfilled is when you're there to help one another. When you're self-centered, when everything is egoism and thinking only about my own gain, my own comfort, my own growth, this is really not going to bring you real happiness, and surely not happiness in the eyes of God. So what does Gimel Tammuz actually teach us? Gimel Tammuz teaches us that Chassidim have always known one thing, that what a Rebbe is all about is the care and the love that he has for every single Jew. I remember hearing from a special chassid, his name was Freddie Hager, a businessman working in England in the diamond industry, and he visited here in Moscow many times, and once at a Shabbos Farbrengen he shared his own first encounter with the Rebbe. And he said that he came into the room of the Rebbe, the Yechidus, and he started telling the Rebbe who he is, and the Rebbe asked him if he's from this family of Rebbes, the Hager dynasty, and of course he said yes, and he took out a picture of his grandfather, who was a great rabbi, and he told the Rebbe, this is my grandfather, this and this Rebbe. The Rebbe became very serious, and he asked him, tell me, do you know what a Rebbe is? And he said, I was smart enough to keep quiet, because of course I didn't even know what a chassid is. How could I know what a Rebbe is? And then the Rebbe again asked me the same question, second time, and then a third time, and of course I was quiet, I didn't answer. And the Rebbe became very serious, and the Rebbe said, the first Rebbe was the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov had a minhag. He had a custom that every night before he went to sleep, whatever he had, he gave out to other people. And there are many stories about this, how he never kept anything at home. Everything that he had, he gave out to the poor, to the needy, and only then he was able to lay down to sleep. And the Rebbe said, this is a Rebbe. Everything that he has, he's going to give out to others. And this is the lesson that we have to take for ourselves when it comes Gimel Tammuz in today's day and age. We have to understand that our strength and our positivity and our life comes actually from giving to each other, from really loving each other. And this is what Shlichus is all about. I know this program is taking place in the western coast of the United States, a place that the Rebbe sent so many shluchim, so many special rabbis. What for? Why did they have to leave their families, their communities? Why did they have to leave the Rebbe? What was the goal? The goal was actually to come and meet other Jews and share this message. Let's help each other. Let's help one more Jew seeing the beauty of keeping the Torah and the mitzvot, of keeping Shabbat, of putting on tefillin, of lighting the Shabbat candles. And once this message is shared, and it comes back to you, and this person tells you, you know what, my life changed because of you. My life became so much better. I feel so much stronger because of what you gave me. This is the best feeling that anybody could have. And this is what the Rebbe has been teaching us day after day. By giving to each other, and learning from the love of all the Rabbeim, as the Rebbe told us, as soon as he became Rebbe, that the Rabbeim are teachers, and they didn't only love another Jew. They were ready to give up everything in their own life in order to help one more Jew. Whether it was the davening on Yom Kippur, if this davening is important, saving the life of another Jew is even more important. And so on, many, many different stories. I remember as a young child seeing these Chassidim coming out of Russia, full-bearded Jews, and you think, this is communist Russia, communist regime. How did these Jews survive? How did they manage to keep so strong, so connected? They never saw the Rebbe. They never were able even to, receive letters from the Rebbe, but they were extremely connected to the Rebbe. How did they manage to be so strongly connected? How did they have this inner power to be able to fight this machine of communism that was trying to destroy any spirituality and believe in God. And there's a famous story of a few of these Chassidim that came out of the Soviet Union, and they came to visit New York, to visit the Rebbe. And the Rebbe told them that he would like them to go and visit Rabbi Moshe Feinstein and to share with him their experience. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein himself was born in the Soviet Union, and he ran away because he realized that there's no future of Yiddishkeit here. You won't be able to educate your children with Yiddishkeit in such a place. And when they came and visited him, he was so impressed to see Jews, God-fearing, learned in Torah, serving Hashem, as if they would have lived their whole life, who knows, in Yerushalayim. And actually, they just come out of Soviet Union. And he asked them, how did you manage? So one of the Chassidim said, well, we had a choice. What else could we have done? But another Chassid answered, we managed because we used to gather at these Chassidic Farbrengens. We used to sit around the table and say L'chaim and feel the connection with each other, the connection to the Rebbe. Even though physically we were very far apart, we knew that there's something much stronger. We had an inner feeling of being all interconnected. How? Through these Chassidic Farbrengens. By saying L'chaim together, feeling close to each other, caring for each other. This is what really gave us the strength to go through and go ahead. And that's how we managed to remain as strong as, Baruch Hashem, we are today. This is an incredible lesson for these days, days of darkness, days of challenges. We have to come together. We have to do whatever we can to fill each other, to say L'chaim together, to use the special day of Gimel Tammuz to refocus on what is actually eternal in our life. What is eternal? The good deeds. What is eternal? Helping one more person. He's going to help one more person. He's going to make somebody else's life even better. And he's going to give this person a purpose in life. And this is the most important lesson that the Rebbe gave each one of us. Each one of us is a leader in his own world. Whether it's your family, at work, in your community, with your friends, you can be a leader. What is a leader? Somebody that will inspire others, to inspire others, to inspire others. To give them a meaning to a day-to-day life, to give them a strong feeling of connection, and this achdus, this unity between all of us. And I know this program is called One People, One Heart. When we really feel that we are one people, when we care for each other, we're actually caring for ourselves. And when we help each other, we actually are helping ourselves. And this love and care and community unity is really what's going to bring us the ultimate bracha and the greatest blessing, the coming of Mashiach today. And we should celebrate this day of actually liberation from our hardships, a day of a real geula, a real salvation from all the difficulties in our lives, and it should be only good and happiness in everybody's life, b'teiv hanirev hanigle, in a revealed way, and we should all go together, likras Mashiach tzidkenu, to greet Mashiach now, mamish.
How did the Rebbe manage to unearth this potential in others? How did he empower so many to see greatness within themselves? How can we emulate his example? Perhaps the answer lies in this simple truth. The Rebbe genuinely cared about and wholeheartedly loved his fellow human, believing that if God created you and placed you on this earth, then you are indeed precious and to be lovingly treasured.
I grew up in the golden age of Lubavitch. So from a very young age, there were so many opportunities to see the Rebbe, to interface with the Rebbe. The Rebbe was there to lift us up, to give us perspective, solace when necessary, encouragement, to share the joys. A world with the Rebbe in it was a world that had an anchor.
I was a reporter at the New York Times from 1975 to 1993. And in those years, I had many opportunities to write about the growth of the Lubavitch movement and to write about Rabbi Schneerson in particular. I think most celebrities are people that you may admire, but you don't get a sense that they care that much about you. The Rebbe was different. He really cared about every person.
הבא שלו, בפעם הראשונה, זה בהצלחה רבה, בשביל הסיור שלו בציורים שלו, הצלחה רבה. הצלחה רבה בכל הציורים החדשים. I have not seen you a long time, all since I arrived.
It could be a little bit better.
Then it will be a lot better.
Amen.
בנצל לכל האפשריות, להפיץ היהדות האמיתית, ומתייחסים חבטו לבו.
כן, אני יודעת.
להכיר אותם כן בישורות טובות בענייניך הפרטיים.
אוי, תודה. תודה.
והעבודה שלי היא גם כן הסתרבות בעניינים הפרטיים של כל הפנים אליי.
זה יותר חשוב לי ממה שאמרת עד עכשיו.
He wanted you to be a better person. He wanted you to be a better Jew. He wanted you to practice the rituals and the commandments of Judaism. Those things would make you a better person and make the world better.
I am a writer, primarily on Jewish themes, and I've recently completed a 5-year project on the Rebbe. The Rebbe had a greater capacity than anyone I've ever come across to appreciate that a human being is created in the divine image. He saw that spark of divinity in every Jew, that every Jew therefore was connected, even if that person felt distant now.
You are not changing anything, you are only returning to your real essence and doing so on your own volition, and then it will come to you automatically to progress in all things of Yiddishkeit.
The Rebbe was still seeing that divine spark within them. He saw not only who they were now, he saw also what they could become and how precious they were.
Ik heb gekomen te vinden een beetje Jiddischkeit, een beetje mijn Jiddischkeit.
Ik had
en ik wil helpen.
Je zou zoeken bij zich in harten te geven, maar zag meer die zich in nog daar. Dat verrissen en van de hart. We werden actief en dan veel met eigen ganzen. Jiddische hart. What happened to the book?
Well, I'm doing some things in that direction, which I'll inform you as it goes along.
It takes you too long here.
You're right.
You have much more things to do after you finish that.
Okay.
This was a wonderful year, Baruch Hashem, but this was our greatest accomplishment of 1988. To be elected a senator was nice, but this was the best.
But don't be satisfied. It's only with you.
Okay, we both heard.
Depends more on you, probably.
Hebt sich auch nach rumgucken, wird man erschrocken, was tut sich das in der Welt. Und was mit der und mit Schone, ist Achscher Dore bit mir. Am geht sich a gucken, nieder Chelik Atevis Geber und nieder Seder wird als starker und nicht gedusche Veruchni ist. Is Meschel beschälet nor Lichiere Leheper. A das is a Linie von a Jahr, was dort gewaltigen Chayis Reus.
The Rebbe's mission was to call the world's bluff and reach right in and invert its reality and expose the core, expose the goodness. And he did that on every level, to the world entire, to each person he touched.
Man soll wissen sein, dass man gefühlt sich in einer teuren Welt. Das ist eine Welt, wo sie ist ein Gang. Und nicht stamm a Sode, eise Tvur, nur das ist ein Gang von eise Peres. Das ist eine Samen-Welt, wo der Eibester sagt, dass das ein Paradies, wo das ein Paradische Leben.
Now, it's one thing to see great and divine potential within ourselves and in others. But the Rebbe extended this perspective to time itself, seeing almost infinite potential within each and every moment of life. Rabbi Adin Even Yisrael Steinsaltz, dubbed a genius of the highest order, translated the 36 volumes of the Talmud, authored over 25 scholarly works, and is a legendary scholar and teacher. Watch this interview he gave.
I wrote to the Rebbe, I said, I'm just overwhelmed by work. Except for all kinds of small things. I'm involved in three major projects. And except for, I know dozens of smaller ones, but the major projects that are more or less constant. And the point is, I don't know if I wrote it, but I said it is overwhelming. And for that I got an answer. The answer was, so my main question was, what should I drop? I don't know. There are three things that are important, each of them in a different level and a different way. But it seems that they're too much for one person. So, and I have to be involved in a way personally, what to drop. And the main point of the answer was, you go on, you continue to do all these things, and try to do more things. That was really the last thing that the last message that I had from the Rebbe. How much can you stuff into a box? See, how can see there is okay, you squeeze it more, but there's an end to the squeezing. And what I said, that from physics we know that there is an end of squeezing only in a certain level. If you go on from pressure, not from usual pressure, but a pressure that is perhaps 1,000, 10,000 times as much, perhaps 100,000 times as much, the matter collapses and is rearranged. It is rearranged, and then you can put in. There is also a limit to that, but it is beyond the limits because you change the very nature of matter. So I think that what the Rebbe wanted to do with everybody, which he did with himself, was to create a new kind of matter.
Bischaß mi verbindt sich mit der Sache, wo sie gefühlt sich eben, mit der Sache, wo sie lemeile min azman und min amoke, ist afal pi, was gefühlt sich in Zman und in Moke, gibt ihm der Eberste die Möglichkeit, als ich in See, wird durchführen den Ebersten Schlichus. Bischaß mis verbunden eben, oder dämmelt fällt mir nicht unten.
It was June of 1994, and the Rebbe had just passed away. At his funeral in Queens, New York, the Hasidim wondered, where to from here? It was then that one of the Rebbe's senior shluchim, emissaries, called out from the depth of his heart and promised that we will continue to carry the Rebbe's message forward. Indeed, 26 years after the Rebbe's passing, his influence continues to grow. At the hundreds of Chabad centers around the West Coast and throughout the world, we, his emissaries, endeavor to follow his example to unlock and reveal the godly potential within humanity and all of life. Tonight, on the 70th year of his leadership, as we gather in commemoration of the Rebbe's 26th yahrzeit, we hope that you too will carry his message forward.
Lubavitcher Jews around the world today began 7 days of mourning for their beloved leader, Rabbi Schneerson.
Rabbi Schneerson was a great leader of the Lubavitcher people. He was a great religious leader of the Jewish people. He was also a great religious leader of all people all throughout the world.
The Rebbe rewrote the book on what it meant to be a Hasidic leader. The Rebbe sort of broke down that wall and said, I have something to give and to contribute and to teach to all Jews. He was one of a kind. So with him gone, how could the movement survive?
The Rebbe's passing was a loss on a personal level, but beyond that, it seemed to be the eclipse of a light the world needed so badly. That was the true loss. But as it turned out, that was never lost. It lives on in the Rebbe's teaching, in the Rebbe's direction, that fuel our work today.
When you are stranded in the wilderness, you really don't know anything. So you have a light, and the light guides you. And then somehow the light is extinguished in the middle of the night in some moment. How do you feel that? And you have, on the other hand, you don't have any permission to stop. See? And the Rebbe gave an order, marching orders. And so you have to go on marching.
For the Rebbe, there was nothing more precious than every single human being, and there was nothing more precious than every single mitzvah. The marching orders were, bring these two preciousnesses together.
Shasayit tut a mitzvah in der Welt, tut a schliches Atei mit dem Eberschen Kwajoch. Wir dürfen manchmal sagen, die Potter als a Prumerit, ist jede Mitzvah, was tut, ist auf seiner Matone, was gibt dem Eberschen.
One of the ways in which this book itself profoundly influenced me was the Rebbe's insistence on the importance of every mitzvah, which brings me now, when I do a mitzvah, to have a much greater increased sense of its power to affect me.
את מדליקן בשבת. אז אל תראה שכל החברות שלו יעשו גם כן כך. Everyone of us is putting tefillin, you eat and you are true to you. Someone else, he must begin putting tefillin. That alone is a very worthwhile endeavor. For adding a Jew to put tefillin. You're welcome.
The Rebbe saw each person as a stakeholder in this awesome project. We have the responsibility and the privilege of moving it forward. By adding one new mitzvah, everyone can become a stakeholder in the Rebbe's project as it continues to move forward and to grow.
Und als Meisef, ein Meisef, ein Dibu, ein Achlot, lezad Atev, ist Neisef, was peilt auf sich, peilt rechet al Bnei Beisef, und peilt, wie der Rambam schreibt, als Psag Din, al Kol Ha'elam Kuli Machrie, lekar Schus, bringt uns die Gejule, bepeil Mamash, die Tech Simcha, vetur Levo.
The Rebbe rarely spoke about himself, but in an unusual correspondence about himself, the Rebbe wrote that since his early childhood he envisioned a world foretold by the prophets of old, a world of Mashiach, a world where all that divine energy and potential is finally unlocked and revealed. There was not a talk that went by without the Rebbe expressing his yearning for Mashiach. Indeed, he made it his life's goal to prepare the world for the coming of Mashiach, and he called upon us to do the same by doing mitzvahs to make Mashiach a reality. We conclude this evening by sharing the Rebbe's charge to us and enthusiastically encouraging children in Brooklyn, New York in 1980 to express their desire and yearning for Mashiach in the then new song, We Want Mashiach Now.
Is dämmertig geworden, noch mehr der Hechlich, aber man muss ihn drauf tun. Nur wenn der mir sagt, habe ich Chance drauf, wegen drauf, besser soll nicht tun. Muss man mit Fassem sein, bei Jesser Reis, bei Jesser Reis. Als jeder soll wissen, als durch sein 91 Meister und sein 91 Dieb und sein 91 Machschove soll wissen sein, als Retzach wegen Jikwis in dem Schiche. Und in der Ruf Gufi Jikwis in dem Schiche. Und nun der Ruf Gufi dort der Psag Din. Want to tell the Rebbe the words of the new song that we're singing with Mashiach, right? So I'm just going to read him. Am Yisrael, have no fear. Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Okay?
want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we. Oh yeah, on your soil, have no fear, Moshiach will be this year. On your soil, have no fear, Moshiach will be here this year. And we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't run away. We want Mashiach now, we Mashiach now, we don't run away. On your soil, have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. On your soil, have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't run away. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't run away. Hey!
In conclusion, we hope you leave tonight inspired by the Rebbe's unique ability to see even extremely difficult situations in a positive light, to perceive tremendous opportunity in the face of challenge and immense potential in every person. The Rebbe also taught us that actual deed is paramount, and as such, we would like to conclude this evening with a positive resolution. In 1981, the Lubavitcher Rebbe of righteous memory requested that Torah scrolls be written to unite all Jewish people, and that each and every Jew acquire a letter in these Torah scrolls. The Rebbe pointed out that a verse in the last chapter of Daniel alludes to every Jewish person having a part in the Torah scroll. The Rebbe also stressed that having a letter in a Sefer Torah protects every person from harm. Now, as we live in unprecedented and uncertain times due to COVID-19, it is an opportune time to get yourself and members of your family a letter in the Sefer Torah. So get yourself a letter in the Sefer Torah at onepeopleoneheart.org. Wishing you a fantastic summer and a good night.